सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। PDF notebook page 4, Gita Press page 63. Let us read the Bhashyam from the beginning. Yadarcimadyadaṇubhyo'ṇu. Okay. Yat arcimat deeptimat.
Yat arcimat deeptimat.
Tadetadakṣaraṃ.
Tadetadakṣaraṃ.
Adityadi deepyate iti.
Adityadi deepyate iti.
Deeptimat brahma.
Deeptimat brahma.
Kimcha.
Kincha.
Anubhyaha.
Anubhyaha.
Shyamakadibhyaha api anucha.
Shyamakadibhyaha api anucha.
Sukshmam.
Sukshmam.
Cha shabdat.
Cha shabdat.
Sthulebhyaha api.
Dhulebhyaha api.
Atishayena sthulam.
Atishayena sthulam.
Prithvyadibhyaha.
Prithvyadibhyaha.
Yeah.
Dhanyavad.
So we started studying this mantra 222. Yadarcimat anubhyaha anucha. So as we said earlier, this section has many mantras which directly talk about this Jiveshwara Aikyam. So Mahavakya Upadesha is there in this section. And here also we saw that. Tadetadakṣaraṃ brahma is there. And then yadarcimat anubhyaha api anucha yasmiṃllokā nihitā lokinaśca. So that Brahma, Aksharam Brahma, is the same consciousness that is there in every living being. So that was said in the mantra. We saw that. So he says anubhyaha anu, and he says you have to understand that as sukshmat sukshmam, or sukshmebhyaha sukshmam, you have to say, because smaller than smallest but bigger than the biggest. Technically you cannot resolve that, it becomes a contradiction. If you look at it as size, it becomes contradiction, and therefore he says sukshmam. Anubhyaha means sukshmebhyaha, anu means sukshmam, he said that. And then sukshmam means he just gives an example. Shyamakadibhyaha api anu means he's saying you have to, in order to understand sukshmam, you got to give up the idea of size. Shyamakadibhyaha, shyamaka we saw last time. I said mustard seed, but it is most likely shyama is this one type of millet, samai. In Tamil we call it samai, and chama in Malayalam, and Kannada also we say something similar. Same, I think it's called same. So, Hindi kutki, I think kutki in Hindi, kutki. Telugu samalu or something will come. Okay, so that sama, that shamaka is mentioned, and so he says you have to give up the idea of size, and that's how anu you have to go down to. Even atom has a size, and so even that will not qualify for this particular explanation. Okay, those things we have to keep in mind. Because otherwise it cannot be prithivya sthulam. He just completed the sentence. Sthulam prithivya. Okay, so bigger than things like earth. Things like earth means what? Hey, the biggest thing you know on a day-to-day basis. How many of us know about galaxies and all that? That's all. You have to study a lot to know all these things. So he doesn't give all this galaxy example, mandala and all that. Sometimes they might, but best thing is earth. All right. Then let's read the next sentence. Yasmiṃllokā
yasmiṃllokā
bhūrādayah
pūrādayatya
nihitā
nihitā
sthitā
tāha
ye ca
ye ca
lokinah
lokikanāt
lokanivasinah
lokanivāshinah
manusyādayah
manusyāyatah
chaitanyāśrayāh hi
chaitranyashrayāhi
sarve prasiddhāh.
sarve prasiddhāh.
Yeah. Now he is going to the next part of the mantra. Yasmiṃllokā nihitā lokinaśca. And so Yasmin, this thing that was smaller than the smallest and the bigger than the biggest, is that in which, Yasmin means in which now he is going to bring the big one, which is lokāha nihitā. Lokāha nihitā. Lokāha means what? Bhūrādayah. All worlds that are mentioned in the Vedas, the world we know plus the worlds mentioned in the Vedas, Bhūrādayah, Bhuhu, etc. So all the Bhuvanani are what? Nihitaha, Sthitaha. They are all supported, Nihitaha. Dha, Dharana Poshana Yoho, Dha. So, जो धारण करता है, जिसका धारण, what do you say it? जिसका, one which is supported. I don't know how to say it in English. So, that is the Brahman on which all the worlds are supported. Nihitaha, Sthitaha. supported, located, we can use all these words. But carefully you have to understand located. And so, not only the worlds, but also yecha lokinaha, lokanivasinaha, manushyaadayaha. So, all the worlds, which should include beings also. So, inanimate matter as well as animate beings. Everybody, nihitaha, sthitaha, lokanivasinaha means those who are denizens, citizens, residents, the beings who live in, lokanivasinaha, in these lokas. Lokeshu nivasanti iti lokanivasinaha, manushyaadayaha, like human beings. And then he says, wait a minute, archi is shining, consciousness, How can you say all worlds are supported by consciousness? That's a jump, Consciousness we associate with ourselves, living beings. Now you said lokaha also. Non-living things are also supported by that same consciousness. How can you say that? There is a logic I am going to tell you. Like that he is saying, Chaitanyashrayaha hi sarve prasiddhaha. This is a secret. This seems to be a secret. And the secret is this. Existence of anything. If you say clock exists, clock exists, if somebody says like that. Existence of anything depends on its knowability. Make a note of this. Existence of something depends on its knowability. Means what? This thing I know, clock is there right in front of me, I know it exists. I know it exists. But, like this we have a lot of things that are there for us to know. And many things are there that exist but we don't know. But it is knowable. Don't know, alright, but it is knowable. Knowable. Anything is knowable. Galaxies are knowable. Far away, not yet discovered. Not even the greatest scientist doesn't know it yet. But it is knowable. That is why the fellow is peering through the telescopes and doing all kinds of experiments. Not for nothing, And we got to find something. So these are all knowable. And even concepts are all knowable. If black hole is a concept, that also is knowable. And so, black hole exists, how anybody can say? How can you say black hole exists? But you have not seen it. Even though I have not seen it, it exists. I can postulate, I can prove to you that black hole exists. That means it's knowable. Something like that exists. And many billions and trillions of years ago, whatever. And so, knowability. And the minute you say knowability, then knowability depends on consciousness. Knowledge, if you say, it is resting in a conscious being only. Knowledge cannot rest anywhere else. It has to rest. It has to be located in. It has to be located in. Its substrate has to be consciousness. Without consciousness, knowledge is not possible. Even animals, they know things. They know a lot of things that we don't know also. And we know a lot of things the animals don't know. So that consciousness has to be there. And so existence depends on knowability, and knowability rests on consciousness. Therefore, existence depends on consciousness. I hope this A is B, B is C, A is C. That idea is clear to you. Existence depends on consciousness. That's the logic Shankara is giving here. Chaitanyashrayaha hi sarve prasiddhaha. everything is ashray. The ashray of everybody is Chaitanyam. We name our children Ashray and all that. That is Ashray. What is that Ashray? Hey, this is consciousness. Chaitanyam is Ashray. Beautiful. And so Chaitanyam Ashrayam Yasya Saha is Chaitanya Ashrayaha. Sanskrit students, Bahuvrihi Samasaha. And so that whose Ashraya is Chaitanyam is called Chaitanya Ashrayaha. And what is that? Survey. Survey means, don't say election poll, election is coming, that survey, this survey and all. Survey means Sanskrit survey, which is all. All means what? Okay, survey lokaha, all worlds. Survey lokinaha, lokanivasinaha, all of them. Worlds and their contents means what? Everything. Survey. Prasiddhaha, well known. He says all this should be well known to, is well known to everybody. That's what he says. That means that is how it is. Nobody can dispute the Veda when it comes to these matters. Even other matters can't be disputed. Because how do you know, how can you dispute existence of Indraloka? You can't dispute. You can dispute what you know. And Indraloka is not yet to be known. And only Veda talks about it. So you can't dispute it also. And therefore, Prasiddhaha he says. Okay, you can add Vedeshu Prasiddhaha if you want. Vedeshu. If you say, no, most people don't know it, I've inquired, I've done a lot of these polls, nobody knows all these things. If you say, okay, in that case, Vedeshu Prasiddhaha. In Veda, this is the subject, and it is the most popular, and it is well known in the Vedas. Any Upanishad you turn, it talks about it. And even Bhagavatam will talk about it. Stories and stories, but in between we'll have all these statements, which we will gloss over in Bhagavatam, because it'll ruin the plot, ruining the plot. So when the suspense is high and all these things, the Dhruva is doing tapas, we don't know what's going to happen, and you bring in all the Chaitanyam and all, it's just say it and then just move on, and so still there also it is Prasiddhaha. Okay. So everywhere you turn in our whole Shastram, it is all Prasiddha. In songs also it is Prasiddha. All classical music songs is Prasiddha. All right. Next. Tat etat.
Muniji, you are muted.
Tat etat.
Tat etat
Sarvashrayam.
sarvashrayam
Aksharam Brahma.
aksharam brahma
Saha prāṇah.
saha prāṇah
Tadu vāṅmanaḥ.
tad vāṅmanaḥ
Vākcha manascha.
vākcha manascha
Sarvāni cha.
sarvāni cha
Karanāni.
karanāni.
Okay, let's pause there. Tad etat. Tad etat. So, tad, what is this tad? Two ways to look at it. Okay, tad etat. That, this. There is a Mahavakyam right there. Without even knowing what tad is, you can know it. That is this. That is this. Etat means this. That. Tad is that. That is this. Mahavakyam right there. Within the moolam. This is, both words are in the moolam, okay? So, tad etad. So, tad can be tatpadalakshyartham. Tatpadalakshyartham. Whatever the word tad refers to. Okay. So, tad brahma. Etat. Etat is what? If that is tatpada lakshyartham, then this is etad is tvam-pada lakshyartham. Tvam, because jiva is sitting here. And the whole Shastram is meant for the jiva. So tvam, who is the hero of the whole story, and tvam-pada lakshyartham. Tad etad. That Brahma is this jiva, tvam, upadesha. Aham, you can say. Or aham pada lakshyartha, that also you can say. So, tat etat. And what is that tat and what is etat? Both are sarvashrayam. It is the ashrayam of everything. Everything means, again go back. Lokanam cha. Lokanam ashrayam and lokanivasinam ashrayam. Everything. Sarva ashrayam. And what is that? Aksharam. Brahma. The word Aksharam famously introduced by this Upanishad itself in 114, fourth mantra. So, there you saw that. No, not the fourth mantra. Sixth mantra it must be, I think. Fifth, 4, 5. Correct. Fifth mantra. So, in answer to Shaunaka's question, Dve vidye veditavye yad brahma vido vadanti iti hasma brahma vido vadanti paracha iva paracha tatra apara then para. Like that he explained what is paravidya and aparavidya. And so there he says yaya tadakṣaraṃ adhigamyate in the fifth mantra 115. And so that Aksharam Brahma, which I mentioned to you long ago, and that is tad etat. This is that archimat, that consciousness. We have now come to the topic of consciousness, and and that Brahma is this consciousness, which is the essence of the jiva. Jiva can understand consciousness very well, and so existence little more stretch is required to understand existence. And so that Brahma, which is the existence, which provides existence to the entire universe, that Brahma is this Atma, this archimat, this archi. Okay, like that we should say. Sapranaha, saha pranaha. Saha pranaha means that means what? That is the prana. That prana that is there in the body is that only. Is that only. Tadu vāṅmanaḥ. That alone is this vāgindriyam, manaha indriyam. All these indriyanis which are all critical, which are the essence of the human being. And so all that is what? Is pranaha. So now he is now stretching our understanding a little bit. Everything is Brahma, all right. Everything is Brahma, but then if everything is Brahma, but everything is unique also. Prana is different. Prana is different. And all the things I use is different. And within the body, everything is different. Prana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, everything is different. One cannot do the job of the other. That's why specialists are also different. Pulmonologist means pulmonologist. That's it. He's only focused on that particular part of the body. So it is also different. And Brahman, how it became Pranaha, then it became vāṅmanaḥ, Vak and Manaha. Something that is same, ekameva, advitiyam, has become dvaitam. Has become so many. Dvaitam iva bhavati. Okay, iva, you have to put the iva there. And so he's saying, I use the word ashraya. This ashraya, the only way to understand ashraya is like this. This is the ashraya I understand. What ashraya? The hand is the ashraya for the clock. That is how I understand ashraya. Support. The mother is supporting the baby. The womb is there. Mother is there inside the womb. And like this only I understand ashraya. Laptop is there on the table. Table is the ashraya for the... So he says, don't get carried away by it. Ashraya means not that kind of lokika ashraya understanding where there is this adhara adheya bhavaha. And the hand is the adhara and the clock is the adheya. It is not like that. It's not like that. Sab prāṇaha. Suddenly he says sab prāṇaha. That Brahma is prana. Means what? Wait, I thought prana was supported by Brahma, but now you are saying Brahma is prana? Clock is supported by the hand. Then suddenly you are saying hand is clock. Sab prāṇaha, Saha, Brahma prana. Yeah, that is how it is. That is how you have to understand. We are asking the question, hey, is the pot supported by clay? Yes, pot is supported by clay. This is not the adhara adheya bhava type of support. Pot is supported by clay, correct. But then clay is pot. Sab prāṇaha. That clay is pot. Means what? Clay appears as pot. Because there is no object called pot separate from clay. If there is a separate object called pot separate, then you can say pot is sitting on clay. You can say something like that. Pot is hanging underneath the clay. That also you can say. Hanging also is a support only, Hang is also a support. So many things are hanging here. The ceiling fan is hanging. I used to always wonder, sleeping under the ceiling fan. Hey, the fellow, some blades fall off means what? How do they figure? I used to wonder. I don't know about you all, but I used to think like that. Because this is what I think about. There is nothing else for me to think about. Looking at the ceiling fan and thinking about all these things. And somehow, if I touch wood, it does not happen like that. But it could have happened, if they don't fix it properly and all. Anyway, the ceiling fan is supported by the ceiling. That's why it's called ceiling fan, I suppose. And so let that be. But here, pot is supported by clay. Okay, pot exists, clay also exists. What to do? And therefore, one has to support the other. Or nobody supports each other. That also is possible. Clay is there, pot is there. Nobody supports each other. There's no connection between these two. There's no connection at all. Okay, but here there's very intimately connected, and so pot supports the clay. Sorry, other way around. Clay supports the pot, but then sab prāṇaha, clay is pot. Clay is pot. Clay appears as pot. Clay is pot means what? Did clay become pot? Hey, you know what? Clay is clay only. It never wants to be pot, and it never became pot. That is why after the pot is gone, clay will remain. Clay will remain. Why? Because clay really never became pot. Therefore, clay appears as pot. That is what our Shastram will say. Appears. It's an appearance. Well, rope snake, if you bring the example, the rope appears as snake, all right. But there it is Jiva Srishti, it is my projection. But here this pot is not my projection. Everybody is seeing a pot here. Therefore, that is called Ishvara Srishti. This is called Ishvara Srishti. Potness is available for everybody to appreciate. And so Ishvara Srishti is there here. So anyway, sab prāṇaha means what? Saha Brahma prāṇaha. That Brahma is appearing as prana. Useful. Prana is useful. Without prana, living being is not there anyway. Sab prāṇaha. And Sanskrit students can become picky here. Why? Because you just said Aksharam Brahma. Aksharam Brahma is Napumsakalingam, neutral gender. Saha is Pullingam. Saha is Pullingam. Hey, two different genders are there. Sanskrit itself allows you to be picky. And so how can you say tat pranaha? If you say, I can accept that. But pranaha is masculine. Oh my God. Pranam is Tamil language, not English, not the Sanskrit language. So pranaha only you have to say. Pranaha is masculine. So you have to connect this napumsakam with masculine. So they say things like this videya. There is a particular word for it. It's called videya pradhanatvam. Means you take the prana as pradhan. When you are going to use the Brahma and then point to something else, then that is videya. Videya means that is what you are going to point to. Brahman is told, now I am going to come back to prana. So prana I am going to say, and whatever gender pranam is, you use that gender for the pronoun. Some rule like that is there in Sanskrit. Videya pradhanatvat. And so you have no choice but to say saha pranaha. If you say tat pranaha, then you are keeping Brahma as pradhanam. It's not a wrong statement, but Brahma is pradhanam. That's called uddesha pradhanam. Anyway, this is all Sanskrit, not to worry about. Others need not worry. So pranaha. Pranaha, interesting. Upanishad uses prana as the example here. Prana. There's so many things are there. Namaste vayo tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi tvameva pratyaksham brahma vadishyami. Vayu. So pancha pranaha, pancha vayavaha. They use the word vayu also to refer to prana. Which means that process which makes the being living. That is called pancha pranaha or pancha vayavaha. And so there in that mantra, Shanno Mitra Sham Varuna, Namaste Vayu, Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Hey Vayu, I see Brahma in you. Like that, this mantra is saying, Shanti mantra. So there is a hint here by the Upanishad, Sab Pranaha. Means I have told you, somewhere else Upanishad is saying, I have told you this also before, I am just repeating the same thing. Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Brahma Asi. You are Pratyaksham Brahma. The fact that Vayu is there tells me Brahma is also there. Brahma is not an object, but Vayu is an object. Only objects I can see. But the Ashraya I can't see. And so, Sapranaha Tadu vāṅmanaḥ. Indeed, that same Brahma also is Vak and Manaha. Vāṅmanaḥ. Shankara is taking some time to expand that word, Vāṅmanaḥ. He is saying Vakcha Manascha Vāṅmanaḥ. Vak and Manaha is together called Vāṅmanaḥ. That's all. Very simple. Karmadharaya Tatpurusha Samasaha. Sanskrit students. And Shankara is saying Sarvani cha Karanani. Okay, don't stop with just these prana and Vakindriyam and Manaha Indriyam. You include all the other Karanani, all the other instruments, so to speak. Means Jnanendriyani and Karmendriyani. 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action. Okay, next. Tat antaschaitanyam chaitanyashrayah hi pranendriyadi sarvasanghatah pranasya pranam iti shrutyantarat. Yeah. Shankaracharya is just connecting. He is saying, he doesn't have to say this, but he is saying, Everything is Brahma anyway. So not just prana is Brahma. But Shankaracharya is saying there is a mantra. Brihadaranyaka herself is quoting this mantra called pranasya pranam, referring to Brahma as pranasya pranam. Means what? The prana of the prana. What makes prana what it is? There is a prana, and that prana is called Brahman, and that is called pranasya pranam, the prana of the prana. Like that Shankaracharya is quoting pranasya pranam. And so tadu antas chaitanyam chaitanyashrayaha hi pranendriyadi sarvasangataha. So antas chaitanyam, I think you have a footnote in your book also. It is not there in Gita Press. Pranadikam sarvam antas chaitanyam antargatam chaitanyam yasya tat. So what you want to do is, in that footnote, antargatam chaitanyam yasya tat, put a full stop there, full stop or a semicolon, tat, then evam bhutam nyeyam ityartaha is a separate fragment, separate sentence you can say. So that tadevam bhutam, it says, you split the tadevam bhutam into tat and evam bhutam, then it is easy to follow. Okay, what is easy to follow? This antas chaitanyam is a word which means, he is giving you the definition, antargatam chaitanyam yasya tat. The one for whom, or the one inside whom there is chaitanyam. Antargatam means is spread inside, is gone inside, something that is there inside. Antargatam. Antargatam. The one, yasya tat, right? The one for whom chaitanyam has gone inside is called antas chaitanyam. That object is called antas chaitanyam. That which has chaitanyam as its essence is called antas chaitanyam. And who are all they? Pranadikam sarvam. Sarvam. Pranadikam means what? Prana, etc. Everything you can keep listing. Gada, 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 gada. You can keep on listing. And including Sthula Shariram also. Karana Shariram. All Sharirams can be listed. All Koshas can be listed. So he says Pranadikam Sarvam Antas Chaitanyam. And Evam Bhutam Nyeyam Ityartaha. Evam Bhutam. In this manner, this Evam Bhutam, this is how it must be understood. This is how it must be understood. What must be understood? That Brahman as being everything must be understood. Pranadikam, he said. Because it's the body. Body is where our confusion lies, as far as who am I is concerned. And therefore, everything is Brahma must be understood, he says here in the footnote. This so far we have been looking at the footnote. So, tadu antas chaitanyam, I am now back to the Bhaashyam. Chaitanyashrayaha hi pranendriyadi sarvasangataha. Pranendriyadi sarvasangataha. Sangataha means it's a word which refers to put together. Anything that is put together is called a sangataha. Anything that has parts is called sangataha. Parts. And you take a clock, very simple, you take a clock like this, perfect example of sangata. Perfect example. And why? Because it has so many parts. So many parts. Those days we used to take it to the, if it stopped working, and if those days there was no battery and all. And so we used to give every night we used to do this. And then we used to take it to the fellow. And those clocks used to work for a long time. 3, 4, 5. I remember the clock that I grew up with. And all my exams, that guy only helped me. And it never spoils. And suddenly the spring will go loose or something. The guy will fix it. Then only you realize it's a big thing there, and then you open and then you see it's all that this guy knows exactly what is what. So he will put his glasses, you know the glasses? That particular, it's a lens. It will just stick onto the eyes and you look through that. So it's all parts and parts and parts. That is called Sangata. Sangata, clean. And so this also, Karya Karana Sangata.
Always be with one.
Okay, Meera, go ahead and mute yourself, please. And so, Sarva Sangata, Chaitanyashrayaha hi Pranendriyadi Sarva Sangata. Pranendriyadi. Hey, this prana, etc., all these things we are talking about. Even the prana is a Sangata. That's what he's saying. He is not saying body is a Sangata composed of prana, etc., parts like prana. That is also correct only. But here he is saying Pranendriyadi Sarva Sangata. Pranendriyadi also is a Sangata and it has to be put together. Prana also is put together only. Panchabhutas are there in the pranas. Science will tell you so many other things about prana. Therefore, Pranendriyadi Sarva Sangata. They are all what? Chaitanyashrayaha. Because it is singular, Sangata is singular. Therefore, Chaitanyashrayaha. They are all resting on Ashraya, on this Ashraya called Chaitanyam. And resting, supported by. And we understand what that supported by means. And this pranasya pranam is an interesting phrase. Generally, when we come across this word, we think of Kenopanishad. Because the second mantra of the Kenopanishad, you may want to note down, 1.2, you look it up later. A student asked the question, Keneshitam patitam. Patitam, Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Okay, this mind. What is there behind the mind? Who is the guy that's making the mind work? And then immediately the first answer is Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat Vachoha Vacham Sa Upranasya Pranaha Chakshushas Chakshurachimuchyadhiraha Pretyasmaṃllokā tadamṛtaṃ. Like that, the Guru is answering the student. And there he says, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshushaha Chakshuhu, Pranasya Pranaha. Like that he gives a big list. Acknowledging the student's question, yeah, there is something behind the mind also. Okay? Like that. Acknowledge, yes, you got it right. There is something behind. You have come to, I'm going to teach you that question which you asked. So, acknowledging that. So, yeah, so not only the body or pranadi depends on Chaitanyam for it to be conscious, because this is consciousness Chaitanyam, and he is talking about the Sthula Shariram, etc. And this body is conscious. That's why they pinch. They pinch to make sure that this fellow is feeling some pain or not. Numbness will be there. Pinch. Normally the pinching will hurt, but his legs are numb, so he doesn't feel anything. Pinch, they will do pinching and all that. Eyes, they will just put that light, flashlight on the eyes. And immediately the eyes should respond. And if the eyes don't respond, then they have to look into it. And so, for that consciousness, of the body, it depends on something else. Because body is jadam, body is drishyatvat jadam. Hey, what is this drishyatvat jadam? Hey, body is jadam. If you say, how do you know? Jadam means inert, non-conscious. How about that? If I can use the word inert, means it is not it is not conscious. All right, but body is conscious. Okay, that means body has borrowed the consciousness from something else. It has to be something else. And this, we extend this logic. Anything. How do you know jadam? How do you know body is jadam? Drishyatvat. Drishyatvat, because it is an object of your perception. Because it's an object. Ghatavat, like pot. Pot is there. Is it an object of your perception? Yes. Pot is an object. Therefore, pot is jadam. Pot is anityam. Drishyatvat. That's it. That is the only answer Shastram gives. How do you know this is anityam? Anityam means impermanent, subject to time. It doesn't matter. Is it an object? Yeah. If it is an object, then it is anityam. How do you say that? Ghatavat, just like pot. If you understand pot and its anityatvam and its inertness, then that's it. Including body. Body also is inert. Put it in the same category as pot. But body is little different in that it can absorb that consciousness, as it were, and express it in a way that we all know. And so, that we understand. Chaitanya Shraya, he. But even for existence, body depends on Atma. Body depends on Atma for consciousness. Body depends on Atma for existence also. Body is. That body is. The isness is taken for granted. So that also we should keep in mind. Within brackets we have to add on that. Which the father is teaching the son in the Chandogya-upanishad. And he is giving the example of pot and clay and all that. Tika eva satyam, sadeva somya idamagra asit. Hey, somya, they are also somya. And hey, good looking one. And sadeva somya idamagra asit. Hey, before the world, sadeva asit. That existence alone was. Then after the creation, what happened? The same existence is. That means what? Hey, the world depends on that Atma for its existence. World is only an appearance. Existence is all there is. The Jagat is an appearance. Appearance. Everything is an appearance. And so, that's that in Chandogya Upanishad. Yeshonima aitadatmyam idagam sarvam. Idam sarvam, the sense of everything. Tat satyam sa atma, like that he says. Tat satyam sa atma. That is the truth. Because that is the ashrayam of everything. That is why it is the truth. Like you can say, clay is the ashrayam for everything, and therefore clay is the truth of the entire world of clay objects. Like that. Alright, the proof is given. Pranasya pranam iti. That is the Shankara's way of saying, yeah, this is the iti shrutyantarat. Hey, another Shruti called Brihadaranyaka tells this Pranasya Pranam. Like that, he is helping us understand why this Upanishad is saying Pranaha. Correct? Sab Pranaha. Sab Pranaha means what? See, the word I'm just thinking now. Pranasya Pranam is there. So, the prana of the pranam is pranasya pranam. So which prana is this? Sab pranaha. Which pranam it is referring to? The prana of pranasya or prana of pranam? I hope you are following. Pranasya pranam. The prana of the prana is Brahma. Suppose somebody says. So here sab pranaha. Well, sa refers to pranam in the mantra, right? And pranaha here in this Upanishad refers to pranasya of that Upanishad, correct? I hope I did not confuse you. Pranasya prana, the prana of the prana. So which prana is what in this sentence? Sab pranaha. That's all I'm asking. It's a homework. Okay? Some of you should do the homework. All of you should do the homework. By the way, hey, just because many of you are absconding in the WhatsApp group, I'm assuming you're all doing your homework. You just don't have the time to type it and all that and put bold and italics and all. It takes time, And so I'm assuming like that. I will give you the benefit of doubt. Even today I'm giving you the benefit of doubt. Okay? Because you're all my students. Okay? So my students are good students. Alright. Iti shrutyantarat. From another Shruti, this thing is coming. Alright. Next. What is the time? 7. Okay, let's finish this. Yat
यत्
pranadinam
प्राणादीनाम्
antaschaitanyam
अन्तश्चैतन्यम्
aksharam
अक्षरम्
tad etat
तद् एतत्
satyam
सत्यम्
avitatham
अविततम्
ataha
अतः
amṛtaṃ
अमृतम्
avinashi
अविनाशी
tadveddhavyaṃ
तद्वेद्धव्यम्
manasa tadayitavyam.
मनसा ताडयितव्यम्.
Okay, yat pranadinam antaschaitanyam aksharam. That is Shankara's Bhaashyam. So that which has been described so far, which is aksharam, which is pranadinam antaschaitanyam, which is the inner consciousness of everything like prana. Okay, that we understand. Yat, that aksharam, tadetatsatyaṃ. Tadetatsatyaṃ. So now this satyam word has to be explained. Why? Because it can have 2-3 meanings, First of all, you have paramarthika satyam, vyavaharika satyam, and this pratibhasika satyam, reality. Then you have satyam as the existence. Satyam is true. Satyam, yeah, what you said is true. Means what? That also is satyam only. The statement is true. Truth value, I think that's in logic they use that word, truth value. Now I am getting it. Truth value. Truth value means what is your assessment of the truth or falsehood of that statement. That's called truth value. 1 means true, 0 means false. Okay, anyway. So tadetatsatyaṃ. Shankaracharya is explaining this word. Look at this. Avitatham. The word satyam we can understand. But the word avitatham, it takes some time to understand. Sometimes Shankara's words are like that. And so let's look at beautiful word it is. So tatha. Look at the word tatha. Tatha I think all of us understand. Yatha tatha. Yatha tatha. Just as something is there, tatha. So also this. That is the meaning of yatha tatha. And tatha. Tatha means that which is as it should be. Tatha. That which is as it should be. Means all the things that you see are tatha, tatha, tatha only. Tatha. The pot is tatha, clock is tatha, this laptop is tatha, that light is tatha, everything is tatha only. The tree is tatha. Tatha, I see it exactly as it is. Suppose I see a snake, but then there is no chance of a snake being here. Then what? Then I don't see it as tatha, right? I see, what do I see? Vitatha. I see vitatha. Vigatam tathatvam yasya saha. Sanskrit students. Vigatam. The tathatvam is gone. The what do you call it? The isness. The as-isness. How about as-is? The as-isness, the tathatvam of that object is gone. Hey, it is supposed to be a rope. And now I see a snake. Means what? The as-isness, the ropeness is gone. Ropeness is gone when I say it is a snake. When I say the sun is moving, my God, we've had the class for 2.5 hours and the sun is now almost there. It has moved all the way up. Means what? The non-moving sun, that is the as-isness. Non-moving is the as-isness of the sun. But now I see moving in the sun. Gone. Vitatham. The sun lost its vitatham. Sorry, the sun lost its tathatvam and therefore it is vitatham. The platform is moving. Which platform? The railway platform is moving. Railway platform is moving? Then who are you? I am sitting in the train. Okay, you are sitting in the train. Now I understand what the problem is. The railway platform is not moving, the train is moving. So the tathatvam of the platform was gone when I said platform is moving. Okay, and so tathatvam means reality. Vitatham is called what? Reality gone, false. Vitatham means what? False. Avitatham means what? Not false. Not false. Not false means true. Ityartaha. So, tadetatsatyaṃ means what? It means it is true. Here, in our case, it is independently existing. It doesn't depend on anything for its existence. That is why it is true. It was true. Sadeva somya idamagra asit. It was there. Asit means was. It alone was there. It alone is there now. It alone will be there later. So independently, because it is independently existing. So avitatham means you can say it is true. It is the truth. It is the truth of the universe. Tadetatsatyaṃ. And ataha amritam. Because it is satyam, it is amritam. Because it is independent of time. That is what is amritam. Amritam is not a liquid sitting in a pot somewhere. And that's how they show. Look at that, how beautiful it is. How can you expect this Ashok Pai, what is his name? Pai. Some Pai, whatever he wrote all these Amar Chitra Katha comics. And how do you expect the fellows to show Satyam? That which is independent of Anant Pai. How do you expect Anant Pai to show Satyam? Well, Anant Pai doesn't have to do anything. The story says that she got a pot of Amritam to be shared by all. Pot of Amritam. Even the story says that only. And then, but here, Amritam, Avinashi, that is the meaning of Amritam. Not some liquid to be gulped. And so, Avinashi, imperishable. Amritam means eternal, not subject to time. We saw a definition of Amritam when we were studying Tattva Bodha, I think. Not Tattva, what is this? Atma Bodha. Trikalayepi tishtati iti satyam. Trikalayepi tishtati. Or Trikala Bhādyam, that which cannot be negated in the 3 periods of time. That means which exists all the time. Therefore, eternal Amritam, Avinashi, tu tat viddhi, yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham abhyayasyasya. Na kaschit kartumats arhasi. You cannot destroy. That is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. All the forms you can destroy, but really speaking, Atma nobody can destroy. Like that he said there. So, tadveddhavyaṃ. Tadveddhavyaṃ. This Brahma, which is Amritam, which is Avinashi, and which is this Sarvashrayaha, that Amritam Veddhavyam, which is now an interesting word. Because such a word does not exist in Sanskrit. That's it. Now all our thinkers, Sanskrit people will all just go crazy over this stuff. And because it gives them something to do, And then they have to figure out. They can't rest content. That's the commitment to truth people have. It's okay. If I lose my life doing this, it's all right. Like that they say. And look at all these people, Anandagiri and all, they write. No end at all. And that's why we are sitting on them right now, actually. We are benefiting from their tapas. And so, first thing is, Veddhavyam word does not exist in Sanskrit. Sanskrit dictionary, lexicon. Alright, so it is a Vedic usage. Chandasam. We call it Chandasam. Means it's similar to something else. And what is that something else? You got to figure out. So there is Bhagavan Shankaracharya gives us a clue. Manasa tadetadakṣaraṃ, he says. Okay. Did we read all that? Yeah, we read it. Manasa tadetadakṣaraṃ. This tadanam we understand very well. Tadanam, dunga. Pita, my pitunga. So that tadanam. So that is what he says. Say manasa tadetadakṣaraṃ. Not physically, don't beat anybody anything. Manasa tadetadakṣaraṃ. You have to attack it. Brahman must be attacked. Brahman must be shot at. Okay, that is the literal meaning of tadetadakṣaraṃ. Okay, it has to be struck. By what it has to be struck? It has to be struck by the mind. That is what he is saying here. Veddhavyaṃ, coming from the root vyad. Vyad tadane. Shankaracharya knows all this. I mean, how it is even wrong to say Shankaracharya knows this. It's not a correct statement. It is foolish, right? And so, but we are amazed by that. We are just so. Anyway, then manasa tadetatatsatyam. This Brahman has to be struck by you. That's what he says. This is because it is the ashraya. It is who you are. It is the essence of everything. Everything that is there is Brahma only. So how can you leave this world without processing this? What does another Upanishad say? Now I am getting all these things. Yova yetadakṣaraṃ aviditva asmiṃllokāt preti sa kripanaha. One who leaves this world without knowing this is a kripanaha, is a miser, because he could not use the buddhi that was given to him. Then yova yetadakṣaraṃ gargi viditva asmiṃllokāt preti. Hey Gargi, Yajnavalkya is addressing Gargi and saying, one who leaves this world knowing this Brahman, sab brahmanaḥ, he is the only guy who can be called a brahmanaḥ. That is what he says there. Anyway, interesting stuff. Tasmin, okay, let's read the next one. So hit upon an idea, they say, no? I hit upon a plan or hit upon an idea. Yeah, hitting. Like that you have to hit Brahman also. Alright. Tasmin manassamadhanam kartavyam iti arthaha yasmat evam he somya viddhi akṣare cetaha samadhatsva. Yeah. So, tasmin manaha samadhanam kartavyam ityartaha. Okay, what is the meaning of tadetatatsatyam? Hitting, striking, attacking, and all these words we used. Okay, don't get carried away. Tasmin manaha samadhanam kartavyam. This is what you should do. Tasmin. Tasmin means what? In that. In that means in that Brahman, in that Atma, in that which is the essence of everything. With respect to that, manas samadhanam, may you focus your mind. May you keep your mind on this topic. Ityartha. May your life be guided by this pursuit. This is what takes me forward. That is, manas samadhanam is that. And so, manasaha samadhanam kartavyam ityartaha. Yeah, of course we have shamaha, damaha, and then uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. There also samadhanam, same meaning. Shama, dama is all needed. Indriya nigraha is needed. Mano nigraha is needed. All these things are needed in order for me to have that samadhana, so that the mind will stay put, stay with this subject. That's the beauty. Anyway, yasmad evam, because this is so means what is so? Because the Brahman is of this nature and I need to focus my mind on this. A requirement is mentioned. I have to stay focused because that is so. Hey somya, hey Shaunaka, viddhi. Viddhi is another word which comes very often in our Shastram. And even Krishna will say viddhi. Viddhi means may you know. May you know. Vid dhatu. Vid to know. Vid jnane. May you know viddhi. But here Shankaracharya does not give that meaning. He is saying what? Akṣare cetaha samadhatsva. That same samadhanam he is bringing. In this akṣare brahmani, in this Brahman which is imperishable aksharam, cetaha means manaha. Manaha. Manaha samadhatsva. Put your mind to this. Sometimes parents say that, no? We say that to children. Come on. Just Half an hour. Can you not put your mind to your homework for half an hour? Is that a problem for you? Like that we say, put your mind to it. Yeah, if you put your mind, you can solve it. It is not really difficult. Like that we say. Here also, akshare chetaha samadatsva. Focus your mind on this aksharam brahma. Alright, so that's the essence of this mantra is what? This brahma is deeptimat, archimat, you know. That brahma, don't think brahma is some thing that is just hanging around like that. It is just archimat. It is the shining essence of yourself, which is consciousness. That is the essence of this mantra. Alright. Anvaya, yad archimat bhavati. Yad archimat bhavati. Yat anubhyaha anu cha bhavati. Yad archimat bhavati. Yad anubhyaha anu cha bhavati. Kama. Yasmiṃllokā lokinaśca. Yasmiṃllokā lokinaśca. Nihitā bhavanti. Nihitā bhavanti. Kama. tadetadakṣaraṃ brahma bhavati. Tadetadakṣaraṃ brahma bhavati. Full stop. Saha prāṇah bhavati. We are splitting the mantra into small pieces so we can understand. Saha prāṇah bhavati. Tad u vāṅmanaḥ cha bhavati. Tad u vak. In fact, you can say vak. Tad u vāṅmanaḥ cha bhavati. Vak will become vāṅ when a nasal letter follows it. That's why it becomes vāṅ. Tadu vāṅmanaḥ cha bhavati. tadetatsatyaṃ bhavati. Tadetatsatyaṃ bhavati. tadamṛtaṃ bhavati. tadveddhavyaṃ. Tadveddhavyaṃ. Next sentence, last sentence. He somya. He somya, tvam tad viddhi. He somya, tvam tad viddhi. So all the bhavatis and bhavantis are supplied. Okay. And towards the end, he is supplied. Tvam tad is also supplied. And let me read this. Yadarcimad bhavati, yad anubhyaha anu cha bhavati, yasmiṃllokā lokinaśca cha nihitā bhavanti, tad etadakṣaraṃ brahma bhavati. Full stop. Saha prāṇah bhavati, tad u vāṅmanaḥ cha bhavati, tad etadsatyam bhavati, tad amṛtaṃ bhavati, tad veddhavyaṃ. He somya, tvam tad viddhi. ಓಂ ಪೂರ್ಣಮದಃ ಪೂರ್ಣಮಿದಂ ಪೂರ್ಣಾತ್ ಪೂರ್ಣಮುದಚ್ಯತೆ ಪೂರ್ಣಸ್ಯ ಪೂರ್ಣಮಾದಾಯ ಪೂರ್ಣಮೇವಾವಶಿಷ್ಯತೆ. ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ.